film begins with the return of John Wick, who is training intensely under the supervision of the Bowery King. The Bowery King brings him a new suit, signaling the commencement of John's latest mission. The events then shift to the desert, where John is seen pursuing a group of riders belonging to the High Table. John reaches the head of the organization, the Elder, and confronts him, stating that he sacrificed his finger and his wedding ring to secure his freedom, yet his status remains unchanged. The Elder coldly informs him that the ring and the finger were lost along with his predecessor, asserting that John's freedom is now an impossibility after having violated the laws of the High Table.
Yeah.
In New York, a representative of the High Table known as the Harbinger enters the Continental Hotel. He meets Sharon and presents a letter proving his authority, requesting a meeting with the hotel's manager, Winston.
This hotel has been condemned. You have 1 hour.
Winston, accompanied by his assistant Sharon, goes to meet the Marquis de Gramont, the powerful and prominent new member of the High Table.
Mr. Manager, I might have consequences.
I shot him. He lives.
He is simply the face of your failure, Mr. Manager. You are no longer New York. You are excommunicado.
The Marquis summons the professional assassin Caine, a blind man possessing exceptional combat skills. We see Caine from a distance, watching his daughter as she plays music in the street. The Marquis tasks Caine with the mission to kill his old friend, John Wick. Caine initially refuses, asserting that he retired long ago. However, the Marquis blackmails him by threatening his daughter's life to force him back into action.
I will be of service.
Excellent!
John Wick has few friends remaining in the world. Very, very good.
The scene shifts to the Continental Osaka in Japan, where the tracker arrives with his dog and books a room to hunt John Wick, driven by the bounty which has reached $18 million. Meanwhile, Akira warns her father, Shimizu, the hotel manager, against helping John, as it would mean certain death at the hands of the High Table. Nevertheless, Shimizu refuses to abandon his old friend, regardless of the consequences. Shimizu meets with John Wick, who has been hiding at the hotel, and informs him of Karen's death and the ongoing maneuvers within the High Table. The Marquis' representative and High Table forces soon arrive at the hotel, demanding that John be handed over.
Father, the High Table.
Stay with Mr. Wick.
Welcome to the Osaka Continental, gentlemen.
Don't repeat the mistake that fool in New York made.
We don't have to end this with blood.
When you understood the meaning of brother.
Enough! This hotel has been deconsecrated.
¡Mátenlos a todos!
Sorry.
Fine Wick.
You armed?
Shimizu insists that John Wick escape before the building is completely surrounded. John bids him farewell and begins fighting his way out. John eventually comes face to face with his old friend Caine, and a fierce confrontation ensues between the two. The tracker intervenes and opens fire to distract Caine, ensuring John remains alive until the bounty increases further before he attempts to kill him himself.
John Wick. Film augmented. J'ai acheté John Wick.
Tracker appears and informs John that he is protecting him only until the bounty reaches its peak so he can claim the kill for himself. Then, he lets him escape. Meanwhile, Caine confronts his old friend Shimazu, demanding he reveal John Wick's location. But Shimazu refuses to betray his friend. A legendary sword duel begins. Caine spares Akira's life. Later, she meets John Wick on a train and demands that he seek revenge for her father and kill Caine. Winston meets the Bowery King in front of the ruins of the Scorched Hotel, and they agree to seek revenge against the High Table. Meanwhile, the Harbinger blames the Marquis for his failure to capture John Wick, arguing that burning down the New York Continental and the massacre in Japan were unnecessary. However, the Marquis clarifies that the true objective was to eradicate the very idea of John Wick. Later, the tracker appears and tries to negotiate with the Marquis to sell John's head for $25 million. But the Marquis betrays him, stabbing his hand with a knife to test his loyalty. John Wick seeks out Winston, who suggests the only path to freedom: a formal duel against the Marquis. To request this, John must rejoin his syndicate, the Ruska Roma. He heads to the church to meet Katia, who demands he kill Killa Harkan, the man who murdered her father, in exchange for his reinstatement into the family. In a nightclub, John Wick, Caine, and Mr. Nobody gather before Killa, who forces them into a fateful game of cards to determine who dies first. The round ends with Killa's victory, triggering a fierce battle in the heart of the club. John Wick makes his exit, while the sniper tracker attempts to take him out. However, Caine intervenes and stops him, insisting that he is the only one who will kill John Wick. John then returns to Katia, bringing the tooth of Killa Harkan, leading her to begin the ritual for his reinstatement into the Ruska Roma syndicate.
Moja krew. Twoja жизнь, moja жизнь.
Твоя боль. Это моя боль.
Arcadia informs him that the family will now formally request a duel on his behalf. In Paris, Winston meets with the Marquis de Gramont to present John Wick's request for a formal duel to settle all debts and restore his privileges. The Marquis initially refuses, claiming John is excommunicado. However, Winston cleverly reminds him that John is now a member of the Rosca and has the legal right to challenge him. He further entices the Marquis by suggesting that defeating a legend like John Wick would immortalize the Marquis name in history. The Marquis agrees with the condition that if John wins, Winston gets his hotel and status back. Conversely, the Marquis stipulates that if John loses or forfeits, both John and Winston will be executed, a condition Winston accepts with total confidence. At the Eiffel Tower, both parties meet under the supervision of the Harbinger to determine the terms of the duel. The draw dictates that the confrontation will take place at sunrise at the Sacré-Cœur church using pistols. In a cowardly move, the Marquis announces he will not fight personally but will nominate Caine as his champion. Exploiting the rules and blackmailing Caine with his daughter's life, John Wick leaves the meeting after teaching the Marquis a lesson in pride, telling him that while he may be a hitman, he will kill the Marquis for free. At the train station, the Bowery King appears to present John with a special occasion suit, asserting that it is fitting for either a wedding or a funeral. Meanwhile, the Marquis plots one final act of treachery. He raises the bounty on John's head to $40 million and orders every assassin in Paris to prevent him from reaching the church before sunrise, decreeing that any delay will result in his immediate execution. Thus, the journey through hell begins.
Good news, buppers. The lottery just went up.
In a surprising turn, Caine appears not as an enemy, but as a friend. He helps John to his feet, and the two fight side by side against the Marquis men in a desperate race to reach the dueling grounds at the very last second. The fateful duel begins with 30 paces between John and Caine. In the first round, both are wounded in the arm. They advance 10 paces closer. The second shot strikes John's shoulder and Caine's abdomen. In the third and final round, Caine fires a powerful shot into John's stomach, collapsing him to the ground. Believing he has won, the Marquis intervenes, seizing the pistol from Caine to deliver the final blow himself and claim the glory of killing John Wick. However, he falls into Winston's deadly trap. Winston reminds him, John hasn't fired his last bullet yet. John raises his weapon and fires a single shot into the Marquis' head, ending his life and his tyranny. Caine is granted his freedom, and Winston reclaims his hotel. John Wick sits on the steps of the church, watching the sunrise for one last time. He asks Winston to engrave loving husband on his headstone, as the legend finally passes away in peace, having finally secured his freedom. We hope you enjoyed this summary. Please subscribe, like the video, and leave your comments below. We'll see you soon with more action-packed movie summaries.